What's going on, and welcome back to another video. So today I'll be breaking down my top 5 stocks to buy to end the year of 2025 off. These are all high conviction opportunities that I'm seeing in my opinion, and I truly believe every single one of them has the potential to hit all-time highs before the end of the year. So I'll walk you through the exact levels that I'm watching to buy in at and what kind of upside I'm seeing or targeting for each. So to begin, I want to start off with AMD. You see, this stock is currently trading at $137.91, up 80% from the low of April. And to keep this one pretty brief, I'm just expecting a simple break and retest of this EMA to around $125.92. And then my first target would be this 167.71. Reason I have that as my first target, you see a gap down from October 29th to October 30th. So I'm just expecting that simple gap fill there. And then obviously, as I mentioned earlier, I truly believe this could potentially hit all-time highs by the end of the year, so which would lead me to the price point of $227.48 by the end of the year potentially. And you see from my ideal buy-in spot, that would be just over 81% return from that level. And looking at the yearly time frame, one reason that I truly believe this could potentially be happening, going back to the 2017-2018 2-year period, you see here starting off with this red candle from the year of 2017. You see it retested the low. Well, this year actually wicked up, made another high, and managed to close the year off red. And then the following year retested the low of the previous year. And then by the end of that year, it managed to go back to the top of that negative year. So pretty much the same exact thing here on the yearly time frame as well. You see it made a low of $117 last year and a high of $227. And then obviously you see from the April sell-off, this has went well beyond the low of last year, and then it currently made its way back to being positive for the year. And if this plays out exactly how the 2017-2018 year, you see by the end of that year after the red year, it made a new high. So pretty much the same thing here. I can potentially see AMD reaching this $227 by the end of the year. And my next stock that I'm watching, which would be Micron, and I'm expecting a simple retest to this 113.83 level here, as well as it being around this same level that it failed to break above multiple times. So you see, starting back from July of 2024, it failed to break above this level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. So again, I'm obviously expecting a simple break and retest to this level. So anywhere from this 113.80 down to 111, I'm expecting this price point to hold. And from there, you see back to all-time highs that could potentially be just over 41%. And looking at this yearly as well, pretty much the same thing with AMD, where you had the previous year close off red, and the following year retest the low of that red year and then make its way back up to the high, and you see it's pretty much almost there. So as I mentioned, this is my overall target of 156.81, and I put the levels back on there for my buy-in, which is again this 113.7, and then this all-time high here at 157. And my first target would be this gap down price point of around 136. So from here, more than likely I'll probably play 130 calls late December, early January of 2026 to probably catch this entire move. The worst thing I could do in this scenario is go a short dated expiration, and then I'll probably have to close out this entire position before this move actually plays out. So as I mentioned, I'll probably go late December, early January. And my next one, which would be this ASX, I'm expecting a retest to this 972 level, lowest being around 934, which again would be a simple break and retest to this EMA as well. And then my first target would be this $11 range, and you see from the low there that has potential over 18%. and then back to the all-time highs is just over 33%. This one personally isn't one of my favorite ones, but I truly believe this does have a lot of upside as well, back to all-time highs. And pretty much the same thing here. You see the last year high was 1256, and this didn't close out rare, but this looks just like the S&P's yearly candle as well, where you see it actually sold back down and then managed to make its way back up to the last positive year's all-time high. And if you go back to ASX, pretty much the same thing here. You see the last year was positive as well, retested the low of that year, and then obviously it's making its way. So ASX, I'm expecting to see this thing pop up to this 1250 by end of the year. And as I mentioned, these are my two levels that I'm watching, that 972 and then around this 933. And I'll probably go 10 calls again late December, early January to catch this entire move. And then another one I'm watching is Palantir. This one is actually really overextended from the lows. You see this stock just keeps going up, but I'm expecting no different from this stock, especially to end the year off. So two things here, starting off with this first level, which is my buy-in zone, $119.44. You see last two times that it retested this price point, it failed to break beneath it, so I'm expecting no different going forward. And another reason I like this one, you see we have this resistance trend line that it failed to break above 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and then finally broke back above it, and you see it retested it here on May 6th and pushed that further up. So again, using these both as a confluence, I can see this 119 daily level as well as this trend line pushing Palantir back up to all-time highs as well. And then my first target would obviously be the most recent all-time high of 150. I would target just the even numbers like 160, 170, 180, 190, but I won't be surprised to see Palantir possibly get up into the 200 level by end of the year. So from my ideal buy-in spot, you'll see that's just over 68%. And my last one, which is probably my most favorite one, which is IWM. So I'm actually watching this level here around 37, 34, and 36, 38. And this is just around the EMA as well. So anywhere in here, I'll go ahead and probably purchase, depending on the high that it makes here. So say for example, this is the high going into next week. I'll probably play 40 calls again late December, early January, and probably target or try to catch this entire move up to all-time highs here at 5150. But my first target here would be this 45 or 44.99, pretty much 45 daily level that you see it failed to break above multiple times as well. So I'm expecting no different. It could act as resistance short term once it gets back to 44.99. But overall, I am very bullish on UWM. And if you don't know what this is actually the leverage ETF for the IWM or Russell 2000. If I take this off and take you guys to the yearly time frame as well, pretty much the same thing as I mentioned with the SPY, where you see the previous year actually ended up closing positive. And then you see here, it has retested that low, and then potentially it could get up to the last year's high of 5150 by the end of the year. So that's pretty much all for this video. And I actually just noticed this actually isn't the all-time high for UWM, but this is the most recent high that it made to start the year off. So again, I am targeting this 5150 level from this buy-in zone of anywhere between 36.37 and 37.3. So that's it for this video, and as always, I'm open to hearing you guys' opinions of the stocks that I do reviews on. And as always, invest safe.